I, 25F, met my fiancé, 27M, through Hinge about 2 years ago. He proposed about 4 months ago, and we were planning to get married next year. Everything was great. We both like anime, the same type of music, and are huge fans of the same TV shows. He works as an electric lineman, and I'm a travel nurse, so we both make pretty decent money. However, I work longer hours and, due to traveling, can go a few weeks without seeing him. When I'm gone, we FaceTime throughout the day, and sometimes he'll pay for a flight to come see me if the assignment is longer than 10 days. Keep this in mind, it's important. When I'm back home, I'll spend upwards of 3 to 4 days at his apartment, and he'll come over to mine when we're not at his. Yesterday, I got back from an assignment, and I'll be off until mid-January, so I invited him over to cook and hang out. We had dinner, laughed, talked, and did the deed, which, by the way, he is phenomenal at. That is also important for later in the story. I'm not on the pill, and I'm very adamant that we use protection to avoid any slip-ups despite him pulling out every time. Tonight, he was very weird about it. He didn't pull out when he finished, and when I looked, the rubber was already in his hand. Usually, he'll wait a minute or so and then take it off when he goes to take a leak. I typically shower after he does that, but I went ahead and got up because I could feel something oozing out more than usual. I asked him if he had a slip-up or if it broke, and he said no. He then got dressed and said he would see me tomorrow because something came up, gave me a kiss, and left. All of which is incredibly weird because we always cuddle. So after he left, I checked, and it was definitely his you-know-what. I started panicking and blowing his phone up, but it's going straight to voicemail. So I call from a blocked number, and it's still going straight to voicemail, and my messages aren't delivering, which means he put his phone on airplane mode. He's never acted like this before. It was really strange behavior and something didn't feel right, so I shower and go to Walgreens to get 2 Plan Bs, and just as I was about to pull out and head to his apartment to see why he's acting like this, I get a phone call. I didn't recognize the number, so I ignored it, but it called 3 more times. I thought maybe it was an emergency, so I answered, and on the other end, a woman's voice says, "Hey, my name is Raina. I found your number thousands of times on my boyfriend's phone bill, and I wanted to know how you know him. His name is XYZ. My heart sank into the concrete my car was parked on. She says she's a flight attendant, so she is also constantly traveling for work, just like me. They live together, and she was supposed to work through the holidays but came home early to surprise him, and found their apartment looked different than how she decorated it, specifically all traces of her were gone. She called him, and he acted normal, so she knew he wasn't kicking her out. So she picked up the paper copy of his bill after going through the mail and flipped to the pages where it shows the numbers that the line called, text, or received calls or texts from, and that's how she found my number and 4 other numbers belonging to women he's been sleeping with. All of which are women who have been to his house, all of which work demanding jobs where they can't see him daily. I had a drawer at his apartment, so I asked her if my stuff was in there, and it was. She said after calling 2 of the girls and confronting him, he told her he didn't have to explain anything to her. Now, the trips we have taken, we're going to take, and when he was flying to see me, he was using her Hilton Honor Points and Delta discount to book everything. He told her the trips were for business or bachelor parties for his friends. As I'm talking to her, I'm apologizing to her because even though he proposed to me, I was the side piece because they've been together for 7 years. Then things took a turn, because she told me I might as well break up with him because the smashing was too good to let go, and I probably begged him to propose. At that point, I hung up because I'm not about to argue with a 7-year girlfriend about my fiancé when I got further than her in 2 years. Not a flex because he was cheating, I'm just saying I'm not gonna be berated by someone he clearly doesn't care about, when we both were made fools of. So I texted him and told him I knew, and in the event I am pregnant, I'm going straight to the clinic and blocked him. He's been calling and texting from multiple numbers, begging to talk. I'll be changing my number tomorrow, but now I feel sad and hopeless, because how can someone that checked all my boxes be so wrong? I give up on love. Edit. I'm going to try and answer some questions here. We both have Verizon, and I did check the PDF version of my bill through the app, and the last pages show numbers I was in contact with, so that does check out. He also gets paper copies of all his bills. He's old-fashioned in that way. I was able to ask her 2 questions before she flipped on me. The first question was how didn't she know because I'm a Delta Sky Miles member, and when I booked a flight for my brother, I could go on the app and see the trip details, and his name was there. That's when she said he told her they were business trips, so she didn't feel the need to check. The second question was, has he done this before, because she was talking like he had. Her response was pretty detailed about how she caught him in the backseat of her car with a girl before, and other things that happened over the course of the 7 years. She followed up with, I love him, I'm not leaving him over some meaningless smash and dash he did to fill his time while I was gone, that rooster is mine, and it's too good. So I responded, but I wasn't meaningless, he proposed to me, to which she said I probably begged him, and she didn't call to warn me, she was calling to let me know I needed to leave him alone. So I hung up, which I regret because I have a lot more questions after thinking all night. Some of my friends think that maybe she's an ex and is lying, but how would she have gotten my number? They also said maybe he was cheating with her and her story is a lie, she's just trying to get rid of me. Also, if she's lived there for years as she said, They pointed out that there would be some piece of mail with her name on it. Even if she gets everything paperless, credit card promotions, Spectrum promotions, something would have her name on it, and I checked his mail several times by myself and never saw anything. When I check my mail, there's always junk mail with my name on it, so that was weird. It doesn't matter, though, too much drama for me. I don't know how he packed her stuff up or where he was putting it. It wasn't in the apartment. My friends had also been over to hang out with us with their boyfriends, and they saw no trace of a woman either. Because there are a lot of holes in the story, I have decided to talk to him later today. I'll also be taking his stuff that's at my apartment with me so that there are no more ties to him. Update 1. I met him somewhere public and well lit just in case it got dark during our chat. He asked me to just listen to what he had to say, so I let him talk until he was done. He said that the rubber did break and he didn't know. He lied because he knew I would freak out, so his plan was to run to Walgreens to get a plan B and then come back to have me take it, and then explain what happened and apologize. For context, I live in a high-rise downtown. Once I go downstairs to the first floor, the building right next to mine has a Walgreens that closes at 11 p.m. He left it around 9:45, so he would have had time to get there and back. I showered and didn't leave my apartment until about 10:25. I didn't go to that Walgreens either because I didn't want to walk since it was so cold last night, so I drove to the one that was about 10 minutes away and closest to his apartment. He claimed he came back to my apartment, but I didn't answer the door, so he left. I have a Ring doorbell camera, and I know that's a lie because about 4 minutes after I left, I got a motion alert from my neighbor across the hall going into her apartment. He never came to my door. He says Raina is his crazy ex from 4 years ago. I have never heard of her, and we talked about our exes, so that's strange. He said that while he was in Walgreens, she contacted him and told him to call her or she was going to call me. I cut in and asked to see the call log, but he said he deleted it. He said they never lived together, so she's lying about that, and she never even had a key. He also said it's impossible to hide all her stuff every time she left and claimed she was only gone 4 to 7 days at a time. Also, he said he was living somewhere else at the time. He said there are one of 2 ways she got my contact info. When he booked our tickets for our vacation next month, he did so on his MacBook, which he rarely uses. He says he was probably still logged into her Delta account and didn't realize it, so she pulled up the passenger details and got my info. Or she still has his iPad, and it might still be logged into his Apple ID, so she was reading his messages from there. My rebuttal to the first one is when I booked a flight for my brother, my own passenger details automatically populated after I chose a seat, and I had to add a new passenger and enter his details. So how would he not have seen her name and info and realized he was in her account? Also, when I sign into my account, it says my name, Sky Miles level, ID number, and the amount of Sky Miles I have at the top. So I just don't believe he didn't know it was her account. Second, when I was in college, I worked for Apple customer service. It was back in 2017, but I don't think much has changed. There is no way he left his iPad with her 4 years ago, and it hasn't logged her out. She would have had to re-enter his Apple ID password at some point, especially if it went a long time without being used. And even if she knew his password, it would have sent the confirmation code to all devices that say allow or don't allow. Before he could even finish talking, I've already concluded he's lying to my face, but a car pulls in front of our cars, rolls down the window, and a woman calls out to him. It's Raina, and he immediately looks at me and then looks at her and says, "Please go, you're ruining everything for me." Of course, I'm trying to figure out how she knew where he was, but at this point, she's yelling in the parking lot, calling me all types of names, and people are starting to stare. I'm embarrassed and go to get back in my car to pull off. I really would have liked to confront him with her because he can't lie to both of our faces, but I guess she's not ready for that. But that was more confirmation he was lying because he said, "I told you she must have my location through my iPad, but if you thought she had access, why not go on Apple and remove the device, which would sign you out so she couldn't see anything?" I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think she's a live-in girlfriend. I think that she's someone he was cheating with, and she went through his phone and got my info and maybe shared his location with herself. I didn't get to say anything or ask questions because at that point with her there yelling and making threats, it wasn't safe for me anymore, so I left. Also, I just don't believe that a girlfriend from 4 years ago is going to do all of this unprovoked, but I'm positive that they're both lying about something, and I don't have time for it. Update 2. Thanks for your kind words, I'm okay. I changed my number this morning and made sure he was blocked on everything. I also had my friends and mom block him as well. I was supposed to spend Christmas with him, but I decided instead of sitting home crying, I was gonna go somewhere tropical. So I booked a flight to the Bahamas. I have a 12-hour layover in Atlanta, but that's fine. Late tomorrow morning, I'll be on a beach with a drink in hand, relaxing. I've been doing travel nursing since 2020, and I've never used any of my Marriott points, so I booked my hotel with those so the trip didn't even cost me much.